Yo, what's up? It's DJ L7. Today I have a very special guest. As you know, I'm interviewing candidates from all over the country. But today we're bringing it back to New York City. I actually have, I'm actually let my interviewer introduce himself. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Emmanuel Findlay. I'm running for the 79th Assembly District in the Bronx. I've been involved in politics since 2012. Actually, I've been involved since 2012. I've done campaign fundraising and campaigns. I've also done I've been campaign manager. I've been asked a couple of times to run before, but I didn't think I had enough at the time, enough experience at the time. I think I wanted to learn more about how the community works and what was going on before I wanted to jump into it. So now I finally decided that I'm ready to go in and jump in and help improve my community.
That's cool, man. All right. So usually that's actually how the question starts. You said that you started your kind of political journey in 2012, but you
Yes.
may have been an activist before then. You may have had other, different ideas before political, or maybe you had like some kind of awakening in 2012. How did your whole political journey kind of begin?
Well, it started off when I was volunteering at a campaign. So I came in as a volunteer, just helping out, and I quickly found out that I rose all the way up to be just about, I guess, the second guy in the rankings. But that was pretty much it. I came in as a volunteer. Prior to that, my mother had taught me how we used to go into like different homes, like either nursing homes or we go into like halfway houses. We'll go in there and my mom every Sunday will cook a meal and we'll bring it to these different homes around in our neighborhood. There are like 3 homes around the neighborhood. She'll cook and we'll go to each of these houses and we'll bring the food. On holidays such as like Easter, Christmas, we'll also go over to like the hospitals in our area. We'll get some toys. She'll have the toy drive. We'll do a toy drive, bring all the toys over and give it out to the kids. So that's where I really started being involved in the community. My late grandmother was a pastor and she would do the same thing. We'll go out, we'll get some food and bring it out and give it out to the community. And that's just how I was raised. So when I started volunteering, it was a natural fit for me.
Okay. So when you started volunteering for the politician's office, it sounds like the first issues that you really exposed to maybe were hunger or, homelessness or family issues. What, just to really kind of like bring it a little bit more, into focus, what political issue was the first one that kind of really, got you more active and got you into doing stuff?
Really, it was the No Child Left Behind. That's why I started getting knowledge about it, but I really didn't jump in with both feet until 2012. It was I remember my first rally was the No Child Left Behind rally, where we did a march in Washington D.C. So that's where it started. But then when I fully jumped in, it was again right around 2012, and there was a lot going on back then. But then we had our first Black president. That really was what got me in. Like, okay, if he can do it, then we can really all get into it and maybe we have a chance. So that was the first one that really got me into it, and I learned more about it. So that first election that I was able to vote in, it was for Barack Obama. And then after that, not again. My apologies.
That's all right.
So it was Barack Obama. That was the first one that the first election that I was able to vote in. And after that, there are some things that happened that really disillusioned me, and I moved on. So, just a moment, please.
That's okay.
Just a couple of I'm sorry.
Just so you know, folks, today is actually Columbus Day here in New York City. I actually was invited to march in a couple parades, but I'm actually busy doing other things at the moment. There's actually a candidate coming in from out of town, the U.S. president's candidate named Andy Williams Jr. We might be linking up later today. But yeah, once again, Emmanuel Findlay is actually someone I've been very excited to get this interview with. He's actually running for state assembly with the Conservative Party, and we're learning more about his political background here. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sorry about that.
It means you're busy. That's good. Yeah, it means you're doing things.
Yeah, people keep calling. So that's what got me into it. It was really that first election I was able to participate in or know exactly what was going on. And prior to that, it was in school. I wanted to get involved in school, but my mother was really against it. She said, "I don't put yourself out for it so much. You're not, you got to be careful, because the backlash. I don't think you'd be able to handle the backlash at this time." I was like, so yeah, you were gonna say?
No, it's okay. That's just good to know. Like, really when people start, that's usually the issue that they're most passionate about or consistent on. Sometimes, right, they develop as things go on. We're going to learn about that later. But it's really good to see what kind of brought you into this whole political sphere. So just, the first half of the interview is really just getting to know who you are as a person. The next question is going to be, some people define their political stances in different ways. We know that there's people who say that they're socialists. We know there's people who say that they're capitalists. We know there's people who maybe don't even follow that particular realm. They'll say they're a progressive or a conservative. They have different political ideologies that they may follow. Do you have any particular political ideologies that you particularly have, or?
Well, I'm more on the conservative side of things, but I also have a lot of progressive ideologies or more progressive views that align more with what I believe. I believe that that we need structure, but we also need to be able to accommodate for the different kinds of people that we have in our society. But we also need a structure that's set that translates across age and racial background. So for me, I'd be more conservative, or we'd be more of a fiscal conservative, but more of a liberal on certain policies, as in helping people out overall. So more aligned with the liberal conservative. Are you there? Did we lose connection? All right, seems like we lost connection. Let me see. All right, guys. So this is supposed to be an interview with me and DJ L7. My name is Emmanuel Findlay. For those of you who are just tuning in, I think he's having an issue with the connection because he's out for a moment. So what was going on? He was asking me as to my political views, where I stand most. And the thing is, I am more of a conservative, but I'm more of a liberal conservative. I believe in the community helping each other. I believe in the community being part of running itself. So it'll be you'd have the what would you call the senior centers, where you have the seniors coming in, and you have also the you're back. Oh, and there you go. We'll have the senior centers, you have the rec centers, but we also want to have the parents involved in the community, and we also want to have not the parents involved not just in the community but also in local level. We want people to be involved in the local level because that's what runs. That it compounds when you're from the local level all the way up. And if you're not involved and you don't know what's going on, there are laws that can be passed that will negatively influence you. So that's why I'm more on the conservative part of knowing what's going on and having the government be hands off, but also the liberal part of, hey, the government is only going to be involved where it's needed, such as with your transportation, with certain aspects of schools, with certain aspects of the needs of the community. But when it comes closer into more like the family aspect, I think the government should be more hands off when it comes to dealing with the family than when it comes to dealing with the needs of the community.
One thing that can help us to really understand them, because people say they're for this or say they're for that. One thing that I found is that a lot of people who say they're socialists actually abuse their workers horribly, don't care about their workers. They just say it because it's something that really resonates with people that they hope to exploit. So one thing that kind of helps bring your conservative focus. Do you have any particular people that maybe influenced you politically wise or thought wise?
Well, political wise, it's I wouldn't say that there's I started off with a lot of Ben Shapiro. I started off listening a lot of that. Moved over to listening to the Poor Man's Podcast. Also listening to Dr. Peterson. We've listened to Abba and Preach for their different views on what's going on in like because they do more social commentary. And then when you take a look at how that influences is influenced by politics, or how politics influence it. So those are some of the people that I listen to and get like their view from things. And then also you definitely have like your Sean Hannity's, and you have your Tim Pools that you listen to, and that you go out and you see their perspective of it versus what how you see it, and then you try to compare and contrast from there.
That makes sense. Another question is, different people come to, to become a candidate, you just got to fill out some paperwork. It's not the easiest thing. Sometimes people try to challenge petitions, things like that. So it takes some experience. But as in terms of just really understanding who you are as a candidate, right? What are you most proud of achieving? Some people say they're kids, but try to keep the answer as, towards management or government, or maybe with your past campaigns. What are you most proud of achieving that's relevant towards, being in office?
Well, I can say this. This might not be seen as related to it, but for me, the reason why I'm using this as an example is just that it's part of what I do, how I operate, and that when I came into the employment where I'm currently employed, there were projects and things that were like 6 months behind, and they were like, we even had a couple of like a year behind, and being able to come in and then not only catch up to those projects and get them done, but also put us in a position wherein we don't have any more tickets that are outstanding. We don't have any more of that. We're up to date and everything is running smoothly. Like, that's one of the things I value. Like when I go into an organization, my thing is, how can I help improve? What is it that we're falling back on? How can we bring it forward? So that's one of the things. Now, I know you said that to try to keep it all family, but to be honest, it would be my siblings. Growing up with them and helping raise them, and to see how the people they've turned into. I know it's just something that my late mother and my late stepfather will be very proud of who they've become, and having a hand in doing that, especially when they were working double hours and overtime, and being there and being able to do that, and to see how they've turned out, like that really inspires me to continue to work for others.
That's cool. Appreciate that. Yeah. All right. So that's usually the questions that I really have, as in terms of really understanding who you are as a candidate. Now I'm going to ask about some policy questions. Now the thing is that I usually start off with my partners. I work with a lot of different people in different political coalitions, because the thing is that as minorities, we cannot win without coalitions. So I'm going to ask about my partners first. The first one that I usually ask about is what your thoughts are on Assange. I know that Assange is now free. I do not believe that he is being exonerated. What are your position on, just that whole Assange, freedom of information, freedom of the press type of thing?
Well, from my understanding of it, Julian Assange was a whistleblower. And when he came forward, instead of being afforded the protections that he was supposed to be afforded, it seems like he was prosecuted, and then ended up whether in exile, or was it he couldn't come back. He would go back to Australia, I believe it was. And for me, I think that was wrong, because if we're giving people an opportunity to report on the wrongdoings, then we can't punish them for doing that. If it was done legally in the way it was supposed to be done, which it seemed that he did do it, from my understanding of it, he tried to use the legal channels that were available to him, and when all else fails, that's when we had the WikiLeaks. So if he did it the right way, which from my understanding it seems like he did, there's no reason for them to attack him in the way that he did. He's letting the people know, hey, the laws are being broken. The American government is spying on you. This is what's happening. And we live in a country where we purport to have freedom of speech. And we're not always going to like what people say. We're not always going to agree with it, but we have the freedom of speech for a reason. It's not for popular speech. It's for the things you don't want to hear, the things you don't like to hear. That's why it's there.
I agree. That's
and
why we're
exonerated for that.
All right. Another issue that I work with is, I used to work with the Yang Gang. Unfortunately, leadership. There's a whole other story going on there. But one big issue that they were pushing was UBI. How do you feel about UBI?
Universal basic income.
Correct.
Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Well, see, I'm of two minds about it. And the reason being, with the introduction of AI, we're going to see a lot of professions that are going to take a hit, whether we like it or not. It's just how things happen. We're advancing, technology is advancing. So maybe on some level we could provide that, but then my thing is, what's the balance? How do we balance it? And that I don't think I've really heard a viable explanation for it. And maybe you can provide something for me that I can opine, I can take a closer look into.
Okay.
But for me, that's the thing. It's like, given where we're headed,
yeah,
especially with the last week, have you seen with the Tesla expo and everything that was going on? Given where we're headed, there are a lot of people that are going to lose their income, and they're going to lose their way of life and how to take care of the family. So it's something I think we should consider. But again, we have to know, hey, how do we pay for this? How do we balance it? How do we maintain it? And we also have to do this with the understanding that there are people that will abuse it.
Yeah.
No matter how you cut it, no matter how you slice it, there are people that will abuse it, and you have to take into account for that.
I agree with that.
I'm not against it, but you have to give me a strong and solid plan as to how you're going to execute it and how you're going to sustain it.
I really appreciate that answer. A lot of people in the, the Yang Gang, they're kind of newbie politicals, and they get all behind an idea and they support it no matter what. But, a lot of things that they promise for us are weaponized against us. And, it needs to be done in a intelligent and actually thought out way, and not just supporting a slogan. So I really appreciate there's some political depth to that answer, which I appreciate. The next question I'm going to ask about is another community that I've been working with is the disabilities community. And the thing is that right now people with disabilities are allowed to be paid sub-minimum wage. Now, the thing is that I understand that, people with disabilities may have less productivity, and there may be some concerns there. But we know that often minimum wage is pegged to like poverty or, minimal standards of living. People with disabilities often have extra costs where they have to address certain things, like, maybe they have to like buy a wheelchair or have like, ramps put in, or maybe they need like, maybe they're deafblind and they need like certain devices to help them navigate the world. Would you support, maybe it has to be through subsidies. Maybe it has to be, would you support at least a minimal wage standard of living for people with disabilities?
Let me just clarify that and make sure I heard you correct. You're saying that a lot of people with disabilities are being paid sub-minimum wage?
Right now it's legal to pay people with disabilities sub-minimum wage, and they're often employed in food preparation, things like that, and they're paid sub-minimum wage. And I'm not saying that that's not really, if they have lower productivity issues going on, then I can see where the employer should not really bear the burden of that. But people with disabilities, if they were born with a, mental disability, or if they were born with, significant, missing limbs and stuff, and they cannot really perform, would you support, at least a minimum wage lifestyle for people with disabilities?
All right. So, what are the parameters around paying them less? Because my thing is, if they're doing their job, then you pay them what you pay everybody else. That's my thing. They're humans like everybody else. They're providing a service like everybody else. And if you're paying this person this amount, then you pay them that amount. Now, I'm a little bit skeptical again about the government coming in and trying to. My thing is, I want to get the government out of it, but I also want to make sure that people are not being taken advantage of. And then with that, you have to concede that the government has to come in and do a little bit of tweaking there. But my thing is, you want to make sure that people are being treated equally. Now, if you're saying, hey, they're producing less, maybe you want to cut the hours down a little bit, so that you can manage. You don't want to pay them less than what you're paying everybody else for the same task. They're performing the same task as everybody else. You pay them what you pay everybody else. So if it's minimum wage, then it's minimum wage. The fact that your company has to accommodate for people's with disability can be a burden, but also if you're a forward-facing company, a company that's facing the public, you're going to have to accommodate for these people anyway. One of the things I found out the other day when I was reading was this whole thing in Asian countries, where how they mark their sodas and how they mark the beverages and different food products, so that people with that can't see, they can actually be able to read it. And I think that was a beautiful thing. That was a beautiful idea. And I think that's something I would like to implement here. Just make it more accessible for people. Again, the job of the government that I see is to make your life easier. It's to make sure that your day-to-day is easier, because the government is taking care of the job that everybody can't focus on every day, that you can't do every day because you have work to do, you have kids to take care of, and everything else. And that's the job of the government. And my thing is, why are we not making sure that people are being paid the same, and also making sure that if people can access different areas of our community? So for me, that's from what you've explained to me, that's my take on it. It looks like we're down again. So he's going to be over here fixing this, and I'm going to ramble on until he gets back. All right. So sorry about that, guys. Seems like he's having some internet issue, but again, I don't, like I was saying earlier, I don't see why you will pay somebody less. Okay, and DJ's back.
Okay, yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Sorry, I was rambling on over there just to try and.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you working with me. My internet actually. If you guys could help fund this show, appreciate whatever donations you could make. I'm really on the edge right here. I'm being cornered out by a lot of gatekeepers in this industry. If you think the Puff Daddy world is highly controlled, the political world is highly controlled as well.
Oh, very, 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 very controlled. Yeah.
Okay.
Especially in New York City. Especially in New York City. If you're not a Democrat in New York, you'll be hard pressed to go anywhere. Okay. So it's an uphill battle.
Another group that I do work with is actually the trans community. And we know that a lot of times people who are trans face job discrimination. They will face housing discrimination. Now, the thing is that, so this is a hypothetical question, right? Let's suppose that a lot of times people who are trans need public housing because they cannot find jobs. They cannot, right? They're getting discriminated housing. So the thing is that whether you agree with their lifestyle or not, right? They're paying taxes to an extent. So in this hypothetical question, let's say 10% of the people applying for public housing are trans. And then we go through the housing, we see that only 1% of the people in public housing are trans. So we go talk to the trans community, we say, what's going on? Why are you facing discrimination? What's happening to you? They say, we're getting beat up. We're getting discriminated against, but they're not letting us into public housing. How can you assure people that, right, whether you agree with them or not, how will you assure them fair access to government services?
Just a moment. I'm trying to mark down some of the things you were saying. First of all, they're members of our society. They're members of our community, right? Again, it goes back to treating people the way you want to be treated and treating people equally. Now, you're saying only 1% of the individuals that are getting the apartments are trans. Now,
that's the report.
That's come again?
That's what the report says. That's what the report says.
All right, but do we have the reason as to if there are any mitigating factors? What's causing it? Why is it at only 10%? Is it because they're being targeted, or is it just how the numbers come up? And then again, we want to find out how is it that they're vetting these applications? How are we vetting them? Are we vetting them on the first come, first serve basis? I need to know that information in order to be able to make a determination as to, hey, what's causing it, if it's actual discrimination, or maybe there are other factors in it that would result in that. But my thing is, we want to treat everybody equally. And because it's a public resource, it has to be on a first come, first serve basis.
Okay.
Again, it's a public resource. Except unless
that's actually one of the better answers that I've had, right? I actually asked over 100 candidates this question, so that's pretty good. Okay. The next question is going to be, there's something called, I usually threw this in there. In the setup of the question, remember I said 10%, 1% and this kind of thing, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That also implies the potential of using quotas as in terms of your solution. Do you look at numbers like that, or like, how do you really determine, are you someone who looks at quotas as a way to fulfill these types? How do you really, but you really said first come, first serve. So it's not about quotas. It's about first come, first serve. Am I correct?
Yes, because again, it's a public fund. Everybody putting into it, right? And I don't have a problem with encouraging more people of a certain demographic to apply or to participate in it. But I don't think I'm okay with giving a quota. I want to say, hey, more people come on in. You're an American citizen. You're a legal resident. Come on in and participate in this, right?
I would say that quotas are very unpopular.
Pardon me? Oh, I'm guessing you're going to say that's probably an unpopular belief. But my thing is, we're Americans and we all pay into the system. And if we're all paying into the system, and we all should have equal access to the system. You go in, come on in, and we're gonna throw everything. And this might sound a little bit elementary or just very thinking like a kid. But here's the thing: we want to mix it up, and everybody comes in, everybody gets a chance at it, right? Everybody gets a shot at it.
That's a great answer, by the way. I think it's an excellent answer. It's kind of a new answer too, which I really appreciate. Right? Some people have recycled. I've heard many of the same responses, but this was actually an innovative answer. It's a good answer. I like it. Yeah. The next question is going to be another crew that I work with is the right to repair community. I don't know if you heard something called right to repair.
Yeah. Yes. With iPhone. Yes.
Okay. Good. All right. That's great. So another thing that I want to talk about, you're running for state assembly. We know that
just before we move on, sorry to cut you off. You were going to ask me a question about that. What was the question? You were asking me if I knew about it, which I am aware, but I do know a few things about it. But what was the question?
Oh, no, it's just basically, I was just going to say, just explain to the audience right quick what right to repair is. A lot of times, manufacturers of goods are trying to actually retain ownership of devices and not give us full control over our devices. If we want to get something repaired, such as a phone, they take that right away from us. And now, right, you can take your car into any shop and get the oil changed, right? But actually, there was a time when car manufacturers actually tried to lock control of that and say you can only get your oil changed at a licensed or at the dealership, and then they would charge way more. And that was another way of them making money off of us. So the idea is that once you buy a product, you get to own it. You can modify it the way that you want. You can do with it what you want, right? And it doesn't really belong to the company. And they're trying to, like software now becomes subscription model. They're trying to make subscription model where you don't get to own anything. So
again, I think that's a slippery slope because on one end, you have a company that's trying to maintain its intellectual property that it has poured its resources into developing. On the other hand, you have the consumer that has purchased a product that now should belong to them. Now, as long as the consumer is not infringing on intellectual property, as in I'm going to replicate this and then use your technology and sell it again, but it's the same exact thing, but I'm using my logo instead of yours, I'm ripping you off. I have an issue with that. However, when you buy something that is yours, you should have the right to modify it as you see fit, because that's how we get innovation. The reason why we got innovation, the reason why we got the faster cars, the reason why we have the better cell phones, the reason why we have the better computers is because the people that bought these products back earlier on, they were able to take it home. They were able to take it apart. They were able to study it, work with it, and remodel it, rekit. That's how we got better at it. And if we're going to be restricting people's ability to either repair things or actually modify it to a level that's to where we get to a point where we become more of consumers than producers, because now we're consuming. So if something wrong with the phone, I can't repair the phone. I have to now throw it out and go buy it, as opposed to, hey, something's wrong with the phone. I can open up the phone. I can fix it. Maybe I noticed something that, hey, this thing right here is going to improve how the phone works. And I can take this on and go on. Oh, sorry. Seems like DJ has cut off. His internet has been having some issues lately. Yeah, so he's going to be going in and out.
All right, okay. I'm back with you. Yeah. Hey, the next question is going to be, this is actually something you can speak more at length about. We know that the federal government takes care of like the military, things like that. We know that the city government takes care of public housing, right? NYCHA, things like that. They take care of the schools. But you're running for state assembly, and one of the things that's actually coming up on the ballot really soon is something called Proposition 1. I know that's something you want to talk about. Tell me about your position on that particular issue.
Well, here's my theory. Proposition 1. We already have laws in place that protects people's rights. We just have to enforce them, right? And I am against the government coming in and telling parents how to raise their kids. My thing for the government is, when it comes to being involved in the family, is as long as the kids are not being abused, leave the family alone. Let the family decide what faith they want to follow. Let the family decide on what school they want to send their kids to. That's their family. That's the building blocks of society. And the government's job is to be making sure that your everyday day-to-day life is runs as smoothly as possible. And that does not mean the government gets to micromanage your life. The government's job is to manage the overall society, not micromanage people's lives. So I'm against it for the particular point that it stops the schools from letting the parents know what's going on with their children. That's their children. That's their child. That's their children. right? They go to work every day and bust their ass so they can provide for their children. I'm sorry, excuse my language, but this is what happened. People go to work and they bust. They go to work and they work hard. They put everything on the line. I saw my late parent, my late mother and stepfather do it. We've seen people around our neighborhoods do it. They do it for their children. They do it because they love their children. They want a better life for their children. So who are you to come in and tell them that, oh, we're going to do whatever we want to do with your kids at school, but we're not going to let you know about it? You don't do that.
You know, as someone who was actually homeless at the age of 16, ran away from home, and you know, freed myself from my parents, as someone who actually is a supporter of the trans community, I'm still really against Proposition 1 myself. And I think that there's a lot of, you know, I know it might seem that it doesn't seem to line up, but a lot of things that they say are for us are weaponized against us.
Mhm.
I also have significant, you know, work with the medical industry. I work for multiple emergency rooms. I work for a pulmonologist who sees all patients before they get surgery, right? And to tell you the truth, a lot of what Proposition 1 looks like to me is the medical industry trying to take advantage and trying to, you know, perform procedures on people who really should, you know, before they jump to surgery to being the first choice, or before taking like drugs or hormones as being the first choice, they should learn to live with what God has given them. And you know, even though I am someone who supports trans community, and they might say this is for you, I want to tell you that right now, that's really need to be a little bit more careful about that. So I do stand with you also against Proposition 1.
Okay. And here's the thing. The way I see the law is this: it applies to all the citizens and all the people that are within that jurisdiction. Whether you're gay, straight, bi, purple, blue, orange, I really don't care. If you're within this jurisdiction, you're beholden to the laws. If you're within this jurisdiction, you're beholden to whichever benefits or perks that comes with your station, whether you were a citizen, whether you were a legal immigrant. Either way it is, whichever way you are, there are benefits, and there are also, how would you say, there's a cost and reward for whichever station you're in within that society, right? Yeah. So yes, the people, our people that are trans, they should be protected.
Appreciate that. Yeah,
because they're humans just like us, and they go through emotions the same way we do. We have to understand what's causing it. Hey, maybe this person, maybe their reason for being trans is more mental. We don't know that. Maybe this person's reason for being trans is because of their environment. We don't know that. My thing is, let's explore that with this individual. Let's take it on a case-by-case basis and make sure that each individual gets the proper treatment that they need. Yeah. I'd rather hurt your feelings now and save your life in the long run, so you can go, hey, you know, that was a crappy thing you said to me, but because we took the time to explore it, we were able to come out with a better result. Because my thing is, with the trans community, there's also what you have, the people that are called, I can't remember the name of the term off the top of my head, but people that regret and they want to detransitioners. Yeah. We also have that side of the trans community. They're also part of the trans community. So you can't say it doesn't just go one way. You have the trans community that want to transition in one way. You have the other ones that want to detransition.
But they're silenced by the industry that's making thousands and thousands of dollars.
Exactly. Billions of dollars on this. Do we even do we even care about them, or we only care about them when it's the transition is going one way? What about when it goes back the other way? The
suicide rate of people who transition is way higher.
Exactly. So maybe that's not, maybe an immediate transition might not be the immediate solution. Hey, how about we take it and explore it so we can actually get you a good solution to the problem? That way you can live longer, be more productive, and you're not. My thing is, the least amount of medical intervention that we have to put foreign chemicals and whatever into your body, the better.
Yeah, and you know, not once again, like if you're someone who's trans, is watching this, and you really feel like, you know, I understand the frustration and stuff like that. Like maybe not 100%, but I have other frustrations too. But I'm just telling you right now, some messages are being listened to and some messages are not. And I'm completely sympathetic to, you know, the discrimination that you face in your lives. And I'm not here to victimize you or to say you're any less than. You're not, right?
No.
But the thing is, sorry to say, this is not in your benefit. It's for the industry. I'm sorry. This is my opinion. Go ahead.
No, he's right, because it's a slippery slope and it's a dark slope. Let's be honest, it's a dark subject. when you really get down to it, it's a subject that hits close to home for a lot of people. You know, it's like, this is who I am, this is who I feel I am, and this is, you know, and to see it not match up mentally and physically, that can cause a lot of trauma and angst. So what I'm saying is, let's not rush to a part where let's not get to a point of no return where we do these procedures and everything, you find out, okay, maybe this is not what it was this expressing itself as this. I'd rather get you there safely and alive, so you can, and to a point where it's sustainable. I need it to be sustainable for you and for us, because whatever it is that you have that you're bringing to the table has some value, some merit to overall society. Maybe not on the grander scale as other people, but there's a spot for it. So I want to get you there so that not only when you get there, you can sustain it, but so that when you get there, you can help somebody else too. So that's my thing. Let's explore it and find out what the root cause is. Because if you don't know what the root cause is, then you're just treating symptoms, and the problem is still there.
Unfortunately, a big root cause is that a lot of people want to get rich off of performing.
That's a part of it also. But my thing is the root cause on behalf of the person. See, I don't care about the company. The company is going to do whatever the company is going to do. That's irrelevant to me. The individual that's suffering is that's what's important.
I agree.
Because that individual, to them, you don't know. 5 minutes to them could feel like an hour because it's anguishing. But at the same time, I want to know what's causing it so we can address it.
Yeah. So Proposition 1 is on the back of your ballot form. I would urge you to vote no. Right. Just I don't see any reason to add that to the state legislature. It has to be by. So that's one issue right there. Are there any other particular issues that you are interested in, particularly driving at the state level? You know, one popular question is like, what would you do when you get into office, right? What's the first thing you do? Or, right? What are some things that you plan on doing once you get elected, if you have elected?
One of the first things I definitely want to do is we definitely want to make sure that we get this whole sanctuary sitting thing sorted out properly. What exactly does it entail? Who exactly is it structured for? Right? Because sanctuary cities, I think there's some merit to sanctuary cities when you're talking about people that are legally here, people that are saying, hey, I'm from this state and I have, let's say, a case going on or whatever it is that's happening, and because of the environment that I'm in or what I'm going, staying here is not safe. So I need to go to another state where I could be safe, and maybe the authorities know about it. A sanctuary city in that sense, yes, I can understand it. Or maybe there's a case going on and it's a state versus a private citizen, and because of the powers of the state, that citizen is probably not safe there, and they need to move somewhere else. So a sanctuary city in that sense makes sense to me. But when you're having people that are coming in that are breaking the law, and then you don't know where they are, you don't know where they're going, you can't account for them, I have an issue with that. And because then you're using what is meant to protect people to hurt them. Because now they're coming into lower income homes. That's where they're coming into, the lower income neighborhoods. Because remember, when they went to Martha's Vineyard, they got packed up really quick within the week and they were out of there. And they get shipped into these neighborhoods. And the people that are there are already complaining, saying, hey, you don't have enough resources for us. Why are you giving it away? So we want to shut that down. We want to shut down that sanctuary city, and we'll make sure that the rules and regulations surrounding it are very clear and only apply to people that are legally here. Either they're American citizens, legal residents. That's what it applies for. We want to get rid of that. We also want to roll back the amount of regulations that are there that are preventing people from starting up businesses, like a barbershop. All these extra licenses and things that you need, it's irrelevant. You don't really need that. There's a lot of those that you don't need, and that they're just redundant, and it's stopping people from opening up new businesses and getting. We definitely want to look into that and make it a lot easier for people to open local businesses. I don't understand why you need 15 licenses to open up a barbershop. You're cutting hair. If you're bad at it, people will let you know and they won't come back to you. And that's the one thing I'm like, why are we doing this to our own people? Why are we making it so hard for them to start businesses? And we also want to make sure that
it's a tax on the poor. It's a tax on people. It's a tax on small businesses. the thing is that, like, being a security guard, right? Like, you look at who's mostly security guards, it's people without a lot of money. Then what happens is that they make them pay $500 for a licensing fee to get a minimum wage job. What? Why?
That's
right?
what I never understood. Why are you paying 500, 300, 200 to get the fees, however they're paying for the fees? I'll have to look at it. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on the prices. I don't know what the prices are, but I know the prices are definitely outrageous to get the licensing fee and then recertification. I can understand if the license is for, okay, make sure you get the training, the proper training. That I can understand. That makes sense. We give you the proper training, and it says, okay, here, this is what shows that you have the training, and make sure you go get. That's different because you're being trained on how to interact with the public, and it's where situations where things can get really intense. I can understand that, but if you're asking this person to go through all of this training, then the payment, it has to be worth their while. So that's something.
Actually, to get a hairdresser license, it takes more hours than it does to go through police school. It's the priorities, right, is really just making money off of they say it's for you. They say it's for your protection. Now they're just making money off of it. And
I don't see a reason why. I mean, growing up, we had people that braided hair in the house. They didn't have to have a license and all of that things. Why? Why is it that this person says, okay, now I want to take from braiding in my house to going into a store from where I can have more people come in? Okay, I'm going to pay taxes. Why do I need all these extra licenses and stuff? I can understand insurance for protection and stuff like, but why do we need 15 licenses?
It's a barrier to prevent poor people from moving up and to make sure that poor people stay under the direction of some controller who doesn't really, often not for profit, which keeps us in our place. So, these things are really, I really appreciate your position on these points because I see those things as holding me back. A lot of other people get hired to do work, not me, because they are connected through some BS way, or they get, given these stupid titles. I really like your candidacy, man. I'm actually planning. How can people find out more about your, you have a website, you have,
I've been having an issue trying to get a website. That has been one of the problems I've been having. For right now, the only one is usually just the Bronx Conservative Party. Let me see if I can pull that up and show you guys this. So it's the Bronx Conservative Party is really where you're going to be having more. You can learn more about the Bronx Conservative Party. My Facebook page got taken down a little while back. I'm trying to get back into that, but I will keep you posted. I'll send you an update. I should get an update about the Facebook today. I should be getting some update, but you can also check out sit on my Instagram.
Well, of course, the email's right there on the website, on the screen. Emmanuel Findlay for Assembly. Please email him if you're definitely interested. He's shared some of his social media. I think he's looking up right now.
Yes.
While you're looking that up, just in case I get cut out again, what do they have to look forward to, right? Maybe they're going to go to the Instagram to find about something coming up soon. You got any cool events or plans coming up pretty soon?
One of the things I was actually I have to redo the Instagram. One of the things I'm working on is I'm trying to do a coat drive. This is not specifically politically related. This is just something I just want to do for the community, which is a coat drive that I'm planning on putting together. We definitely want to. It's going to be at. I'm trying to get it at the Webster houses, the Webster Senior Center.
Okay.
Try to get it. I want to do a coat drive because that's something. Again, that's something I've been doing. My mother has taught us how to do. Has brought us up in doing since I was young. So it's something I want to make sure I continue doing. I want to bring it up.
I was actually on I just did a clothing giveaway with a group called Be About It Life. Mm-hmm. And they had plenty of coats. They had actually new sneakers that they were giving away as well too. Mm-hmm. And actually we have plenty of stuff left over. So maybe we could actually combine with that particular coat drive. That would be interesting. So
okay.
I'm going to go with them and some others as well.
Okay, that's really good. I was thinking the November 11th. I know it's Veterans Day, but it's also my mother's birthday.
Okay.
So it would be like an homage, something I hope to do on a yearly run. Because
is that after the election? Is that after the election?
Yes, that is after the election. So I'm still going to be doing it. So regardless of how it turns out, it's something I want to do on a yearly basis. Because one of the things she used to do before she passed was on her birthday, she would buy a cake. And, we'll take some food over to either the senior centers or one of the homes, and she'll have her birthday there. and she would say, "This is how I want to celebrate my birthdays with the people that are here." So I want to start doing something like that every year for her. So we started with this coat drive.
I really appreciate it because I work with so many candidates, and so many candidates are really dead serious, only concerned until election time, and then after the election, they have nothing planned. So that's really refreshing, man. And I do plan on being this for a long time. Already being a third-party candidate, you're kind of like more of a warrior type, right? Than expecting to be carried. So
Yes.
I like this interview, man. You're a pretty cool candidate, and one of my favorite of this cycle.
Thank you. I
Seeing how
appreciate
they
it.
like your answers, they're quite mature, and there's a lot of people who use right language that sounds like they're on your side, but oh my goodness, yeah, it's a mess, and you've seen through some of that. So really excited to have you on the channel. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Again, Emmanuel Findlay for Assembly. You guys can send me your emails if you have any questions or anything. Hey, even if it's something you think I said something here that you didn't like, you want me to elaborate on it, you want to challenge me on it, I welcome it. I am open to the debate. I'm open to the conversation. I want to know more about it because that's how we grow. Know what the people in your community are going through, know what's needed, and then be willing to engage, and also understand that in that pursuit, there is going to be a certain risk of offending, and my aim is not to offend. So thank you again for the opportunity. I really do appreciate it. And it looks like DJ is out. So
I'm back. Yeah.
Oh, there he goes. He's
so
back.
Sorry. Yeah, this internet is horrible. Well, one day, hopefully, I'll get it fixed soon. But it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. I'll actually get in contact with you after this. I do actually have some other things that I have planned coming up real soon that I want to work with you on. But I definitely am happy to get you on the channel. I'm sorry about the whole internet thing. This is a crazy time for me. But
it's just an obstacle. We got through it, so we got there.
Thank you. All right.
God all right. Bless. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. I'll be in touch with you soon. God bless. Thank you.
God bless.
I just hit end.